Hello everyone, welcome to this tutorial by ZebraCode. In this tutorial, we are going to download Visual Studio Code, MinGW, install and configure them for C++ on Windows. Visual Studio Code is a popular text editor used by many developers. It is free and is developed by Microsoft. During this tutorial, we will download Visual Studio Code. We will also download the MinGW tool. We will install both of them and configure them so that we can use them for C++ programming. You can use Visual Studio Code for different programming languages, but we will specifically be using it for C++ in this tutorial. So there are some tasks that we are going to perform during this tutorial. We will download and install Visual Studio Code, which is abbreviated as VSC. We will download and install the MinGW tool, which we can use for C programming language or the C++ programming language. We will install some C++ extension tools for Visual Studio Code. Finally, we will create, compile, and run C++ applications in Visual Studio Code. To be able to do that, we will go to these two websites to download Visual Studio Code and the MinGW tool. To get to these websites, you can do a Google search for Visual Studio Code download, or you follow this link. And for MinGW to download it, you can also do a Google search for MinGW download and follow the link that will be displayed. But for me, I am going to follow these two links to download the tools. But before that, take a minute and subscribe to this channel. By following the link in the previous slide, I am now on the SourceForge website where we are going to download MinGW 64-bit from. As at the time of recording this video, this is how their website looks. It may have changed by the time you would be watching the video or downloading the MinGW tool. You can click on download here or click on files to see the various options available. I am going to click on download. It says here your download will start shortly. Yes, now it's downloading and it has completed the download process. I am going to look for it now in where it was downloaded to on my system. I will click on show in folder. Yes, now it shows that it was downloaded to my downloads folder. Yours is likely to have been downloaded to your downloads folder as well. It is an executable file .exe, so let's install it. To install it, let's double click on it. Great, this page will pop up for the installation. Click on install. By default, it will tell you the installation directory that is going to install it in. It is likely going to be on your C drive. Here it says now C:\MinGW, which means it's going to install it on my C drive. Leave it as it is, unless you have a reason to change it. In my case, I am going to change it because I already have MinGW installed on my computer. You don't have to do this. You can leave it as it is by default. Because I'm going to change the directory, I'll click here. I have now changed my installation directory to where I would want it to be installed in. I have a folder that I want to install mine in. You don't have to change it. You can leave it as it was by default. Note down the directory you are installing it in. If it is on your C drive, leave it there by default and note the path. Now that I have changed my directory to a new directory, a folder that I want to install it in, I'm going to click continue. The installation manager will guide you through the process of installing it. Now click continue. This page will pop up and says no package selected. Here we need to select the tool that we want to install. Click on MinGW 32-GCC-G++. This one here. Select it, right click on it and select this option marked for installation. Now go to installation, click on it and select apply changes. And here click on apply. Be patient, wait while it downloads different packages for the installation. Great, it's done. It says all changes were applied successfully. You may now close this dialog. Close it. And now here it shows installed version, which means 6.3.0-1 was the version that we have just installed. This may change by the time you will be installing it. So this MinGW installation manager will also have a shortcut on your desktop which you can double click on to manage your package. If you want to uninstall it, you can click on it as well, right click on it, mark for removal. We are not going to remove it here because we need it, that's why we are installing it. Here it says basic setup. You can also click on all packages and it will show you these ones. We have MSYS and we have MinGW here. So now I'll click on basic setup to bring back this window where we installed this version. Now we have successfully installed MinGW on our computer. You will find a shortcut for MinGW manager on your desktop. If you have any reason to bring up this window again, you just double click on it and it will bring it up. Now we have completed the installation process. The next thing we need to do now is to add it to our environment variable. To do that, we need to navigate to the folder where we installed it in on our system. Yours is likely going to be on your C drive. Remember that I changed my directory earlier, so I am going to navigate now to that directory. This is the folder that I installed it in on my system. Yours is likely going to be on your C drive, C:\MinGW. Look for it and open the directory, open the folder. With the folder open, click on bin to open it. Yes, now you can see different executable files. We have here C++.exe. We have here G++.exe, which is for C++. We also have here GCC.exe, which is for the C programming language. There are many other executable files here. You can scroll down to look at them. Now, what you need to do is to copy this path. Select it and copy it. Make sure that it ends with \bin because we are going to set the environment variable and we need it. Copy the path. Now, click on search, type in variables. This will bring up the edit system environment variables option in your control panel. Click on it. Here, click on environment variables. And here, at the bottom, look for path and select it. Under system variables, look for paths. click edit, now click new, and paste that folder path that you just copied. Make sure that it ends with /bin. In your case, it's likely going to be C:\MinGW \bin. Yours is likely going to be like this: C:\MinGW \bin. If you left it as it was by default, it would be on your C drive, so it should be like this. But in my case, because I changed the directory, it is going to be like this. Make sure that it ends with \bin. Now click OK. Here click OK and click OK. Click OK for everything. The next thing for us to do now is to check that we have set the environment variable correctly. Open a CMD prompt, that is the command prompt. Type here CMD. Here type in G++ space -v, hit enter. Great. Now it tells me the option of G++ that I have just installed. Yours might be something similar. To check for GCC, you do the same thing, GCC space -v, hit enter. Exactly. It tells you as well the version of GCC that you have installed. GCC for the C programming language, while G++ for the C++ programming language. So now we have successfully downloaded and installed MinGW 64 on our system. The next thing for us to do now is to download and install Visual Studio Code. I'm going to close this. I will close this. And I will close this. We don't need those ones anymore. Now, let's download Visual Studio Code. And we will be going to this web link to download it. You can also do a Google search for Visual Studio Code download to get to the official website where you can download it from, but I am going to follow this link. By following the link on the previous slide, I am now on their official website. As at the time of recording this video, this is how their website looks. It says here, code editing redefined, free, built on open source, runs everywhere. There are many ways you can download it. You can download it as a zip file and run it without installing it, or you can download it and install it. If I click here, it will give me these options. Windows 64-bit user installer, this is one option. Linux, this is their option. Mac OS, this is their option. If you click on here, download, it will show you this page. Here we have different options. User installer 64-bit, system installer 64-bit, .zip 64-bit. If you download the zip version, you will be able to run it even without installing it. I am going to simply click on this Windows option. Click on this. It is downloading. Great. It was downloaded successfully. Now let's look for it in where it was downloaded to on our system. I will click on the show in folder option. It was downloaded to my downloads folder. Yours is likely going to be in your downloads folder as well. Look for it in wherever it was downloaded to on your computer. It is a .esc file, which means it is an executable file. Now to install it, I will double click on it. Great. The installer manager will open. you need to read the license agreement for the Visual Studio Code product, and if you're happy with it, you accept it. Here I'll click I accept the agreement, click next. And here for additional icons, select create a desktop icon, and here make sure that this one is ticked, add to path, require share restart. What that means, we don't have to manually add it to path, so it will add it for us automatically. Make sure this one is ticked. It was ticked by default. Leave it as it is. Now click next. It shows here the options we have selected. Now click install. Be patient, it won't take too long. Great. The Microsoft Visual Studio Code tool was installed on our computer successfully. It says here, click finish to exit setup. Launch Visual Studio Code, leave it, click finish. Now we have successfully installed the Microsoft Visual Studio Code tool. I am going to close these ones. We don't need them anymore. Now we close this one or minimize it. Now we have two icons on our desktop, one for Visual Studio Code and one for MinGW installer. All right, now we can launch Visual Studio Code. There are many ways we can launch Visual Studio Code. One way will be to double click on the shortcut icon on our desktop. We'll double click on it, and that will open Visual Studio Code for us. I'm going to minimize this one for now. Another way to launch Visual Studio Code is to go to Start, look for it inside your programs that you have installed. I have Visual Studio Code here, and I will double click on it. Yes, now we have Visual Studio Code open. This is another way of doing it. I'm going to minimize this one and use another option. The other way of doing it is to open it through a folder. I am going to create a folder on my desktop. New folder. I will give it a name, my work. Visual Studio Code uses folder and not project names. Visual Studio Code works with folders and not with projects like some other applications. Now, to open Visual Studio Code from this folder, I will use my command prompt to navigate to it. I will open CMD command prompt. I'm going to cd to that directory. It's on my desktop. Hit enter, and the name of the folder is my work. cd my work, and hit enter. Now I'll type in code space dot, enter. Exactly. Now I have Visual Studio Code open. So these are three possible ways of opening Visual Studio Code. There is another option. You can open a folder, click on a folder, right click on it, and say here open with Visual Studio Code. This is another way you can do it. So there are many ways that you can open Visual Studio Code from your Windows computer. Now you can see my work folder here, and because it uses a folder, if you go to File, you will see here new test file, new window, open file, open folder. There is nothing like project or create a new project. It works on folders. I'm going to maximize this for now. So now this is how the screen looks. Now, this is our folder on Visual Studio Code. To create a file inside our folder, we can use this icon here for new file, or to create a folder inside our folder, we can use this new folder icon. This one is to refresh the Explorer, this one here, while this one is to collapse the Explorer. If we click on this one, it will bring back the default page display. We click on it again and it will open the editor. Now, here we can install this C++ extension tool. To do that, we can use the extension here to search for an extension. By default, maybe the C++ extension tool would have been installed. It shows here, if I click on it, it shows now that C++ extension pack is already installed. Yours might be installed by default. It may not be installed already. Here it says uninstall, which means it is already installed. If I want to uninstall it, I will uninstall it. In this case, I need it, so I will not uninstall it. If it was not installed already and you wanted to install it, you could just type here C, and it will bring up all C and C++ related tools. So you can scroll through them, scroll down to see all of them. If you know of an extension that you are looking for example, SQLite, you can say SQLite, and it will bring up all the SQLite extension tools. If you want to install any of them, you can click install and it will install it for you. I'll close this one. I'll click on this one again. Now I'll click on this. Another way to look for extensions is to go to View, Extensions, and it will also open up this panel where it shows what has been installed already. In my case, it says installed 34, so I have 34 extensions installed already. This C++ IntelliSense by Microsoft is what we need. If it is installed already by default, use it. If it is not installed by default, you can install it just the way I have demonstrated. Now, I'm going to open the editor. Now, let's create a file inside our My Project folder. Click on this one and give it a name. My app.cpp. Hit enter. Great. Now we have a C++ file to work with. Now let's enter some code in our C++ file. First, I will add some header files. Include IOStream, include string, int, main, return 0. My code now is showing in different colors, and I'm able to use the auto suggest because of the IntelliSense, which is a part of the C++ extension tools. Now I will say std : cout hello world, std end line. Now let's run our program. To run our program, there are many ways to do so. Just as there are many ways to open Visual Studio Code, there are also many ways to run our program. Now save it. To run our code, go to Terminal, New Terminal, and here type in G++ space. You can use tab key to auto-complete it, or you just type it up /myapp.cpp, which is this file that we want to run. Now hit enter. Great. Now we have a file here which is an executable file, a.exe. I will explain the A to you in a minute. Now to run it, type in /, and what is the name of the file we are going to run? a.exe, and hit enter. Exactly, it says here hello world. So this is our C++ file, and when we compiled it, we got this a.exe file. By default, if you do not specify the name of the file you want to run, Visual Studio Code will give you that file name, a.exe. Now I'm going to close this one. Click on this Kill Terminal tool. Now I'm going to delete this one so that we can run it again. Yes, move to recycle bin. Now let's modify this code and run it again. std : cout Visual Studio Code is a great code editor. std : end line. Save it. Now to run it, I will say again, Terminal, New Terminal. This time I'm going to say again G++ hyphen O for output. And what do we want to output it as? We want to give it a name. I will say run my app space my app.cpp. Here G++ is our compiler, which is a part of our MinGW. Now hyphen O, that's for output. Run my app is going to be the name of the executable file that we are going to get. And we want to compile and run this file, my app, which is this one. It could be anything, but it should be what your C++ file is. Now hit enter. Great. Now it was compiled successfully. We have run my app.exe, which is an executable file. And to run it, we say here // what is the name of the file that we want to run? Run my app.exe. Hit enter. Great, it was run successfully. Hello world. Visual Studio Code is a great code editor. So this is one way of running your code in Visual Studio Code. Now I'm going to close this terminal. This icon here, Kill Terminal, is what I will use to close it. Like I said earlier, there are many ways you can run your application in Visual Studio Code. I'm going to delete this one. Yes, move to recycle bin. Let me modify this one again. std cout programmers love Visual Studio Code. std : and line. Another way to run it now will be terminal, run build task. This pop-up window will come up. Remember when we installed our MinGW today, we installed it on a particular location on our computer. Yours may have been installed on the C drive, that is C:\MinGW bin, but if that is where you install it in, look for it here, the one that says C/C++, then G++, which is this one here. If that is where you installed it on, this is the one you are going to get. Mine was installed in a different directory, a different folder, different path. So I'm going to use this one as well that says C/C++ and G++.exe. Is this one here? I will click on it. Great. It says build finished successfully. Everything was built successfully. But now look at the executable file. It is exactly the same name as the source file, the C++ file, except that the extension is different. This one is for the executable file. So to run it, can do the same thing. Terminal, new terminal, dot, backslash, and what is the name of the file? My app.exe. Hit enter. Exactly, it was run successfully. Hello world, Visual Studio Code is a great code editor. Programmers love VSC. So this is another way of running your C++ program in Visual Studio Code. I'm going to close this and close this. Now I will delete this one once again. Yes, move to recycle bin. There is another way we can run our code. Here, I'm going to add another std : cout. Subscribe to our channel ZebraCode. std : end line. Save it. Now there is another way we can build and run our program. If you look at this icon here, if you click on it, we have two options: debug C++ file, run C++ file. Let's click on the second one for now. Again, it brings up this window asking you to choose the compiler that you are going to use. So remember your compiler which you installed in MinGW. By default, it will detect a compiler for you, but double check to see that it's the one that you actually installed in MinGW. So this is the one that it says now it detects. If I scroll down, I can also find the one that I installed today. So if you click on the one that you detected, so it will say now build finished successfully, which is great. And here look at some icons. This one is to restart, and this one is to stop it. And here it says, hello world, Visual Studio Code is a great code editor. Programmers love Visual Studio Code. Subscribe to our channel ZebraCode. And it shows that it exited normally. Now look at this side. We have our myapp.cpp, and we also have myapp.exe, which is the executable file. But there is something else. Can you see this? Visual Studio Code folder. So there is a folder now added to it, and when you click on it to expand it, you will see a task.json file. So I am not going to go into that here, but this was just to show you another way that you can run your code. So now you see the icon has changed, so we can now easily run our code with this button. We can also install some other extensions. For example, the Code Runner extension. You can go to extension. Here type in Code Runner. And this one here, the first one, click on it. And let's install it. To install it, click on Install. It is installing. The installation is done. And here it says this extension is enabled globally, which is fine. Sometimes after installing an extension, you may need to restart Visual Studio Code for it to take effect. I'm going to close it and click on this one. If you want to run it again, I'm going to delete this one, move to bin, and I will also delete this one, move to bin. Now I'm going to close this one. Let's kill the terminal. Here I'll add something to it. std : cout. Have you subscribed to our channel? If not, do so, please. std : and line. Save it. Have you subscribed to our channel? If not, do so, please. Now, if I click here, you see I have 3 options now. Before, there were 2. Code Runner has been installed. And if I click on Run Code, exactly. So we have it here now. It says, hello world, Visual Studio Code is a great code editor. Programmers love VSC. Subscribe to our channel ZebraCode. Have you subscribed to our channel? If not, do so, please. So this is how you run your program in Visual Studio Code. One other thing I would quickly show you here is you may want to customize Visual Studio Code because it's used for different programming languages. We have just used it here now for C++. You can also use it for Python. The Python icon is here. I'm not going to go into that at the moment because we are dealing with C++ here. So click here on this icon on bottom left, and it will show you these options. For example, color theme. If you click on color theme, by default we are using the dark mode theme. If you want to change it to any other theme you are happy with, ocean and so on, you can click it. If I click on community material theme ocean, and this is how it looks. If I want to change it, again click on this icon, color theme. If I click on solarized light, this is what I get. So I am going to click here and change it back to what it was before. Color theme, it was dark mode before. So going to scroll down, that's dark, default dark. Click on it and it's back to what it was before. Another thing you may want to do is to click here. If you want to click on extensions, you can see change it to extensions. You find them here. Click this one to go back to editors. Click on the icon again. This time click on settings and you can type whatever you are looking for here. Text editor, workbench, window, features, application, security, extensions, they are all here. It is a long list, fonts and so on. You can scroll through them and make changes as you would want to. I'm going to close this one. So in this tutorial, we have successfully downloaded and installed MinGW. We have successfully downloaded and installed Visual Studio Code, and we have successfully run C++ in Visual Studio Code. I hope you learned something from this video. Please comment on the video, subscribe to our channel if you have not already done so. Thank you for watching and see you in my next video. Bye for now.